Welcome back to Northwest Sessions. We're here with Isaiah Dominguez and Los Olas. So tell us a little bit about your latest release called Waking Up.
Waking Up is, I guess, technically my latest release. Yeah, that's true. I have a new record coming out in June that I haven't announced yet, but
I think you
the
just
official
did.
announcement. Yeah, right here.
Oh no, I done did it.
It's been leaked.
The exclusive.
Listen. So Waking Up was a record that I made when I was still living in Washington, so before I moved out here, and I had the special thing about it was my record before that, Evergreen State, I had gone into like a big studio and I had hired a producer and I had written all these songs and kind of went through the whole like process of like being an artist, I guess, inside it, and like paid the money and whatnot, and was really dissatisfied with kind of the final product. Not that it was, and I always hate saying that because the guy who worked on the record was like an amazing friend and is still an amazing friend, and he is just like, he worked his butt off on that record and really like made it happen in the way that I wanted it to happen at that point in time. But when I reflect on it and I listen to it again, there was just there was a lot of room for growth and a lot of room for opportunity in that record that I was too blinded by my own ambitions to see. And I just was dissatisfied with it. So I wanted to kind of go back to the basics of making a record. And I felt like the best way to do that was to literally eliminate every other like influence on the record. And I tracked the guitars, I tracked the bass, I tracked the keys, I tracked all of the like synths, and the only thing on that record that I didn't do was record the drums, which was those were done by a friend, Ethan Luck, who's the drummer for Reliant K, or was the drummer for Reliant K for a little while. And I sent the tracks over to him, and he was kind enough to record drums on that. Because I'm a terrible drummer. So I had him do the drums, and I literally did everything else. I mixed it and I mastered it. And I did the art for it, and I released it all on my own. And I think it was the first time that I had created music in a long time, or outside of like being in a band before, that I really felt like I had created the thing that I set out to create, which was great because it's super rewarding to have a vision and know what you want a song to sound like, and like hear these piano parts in your head, or hear these, no matter how terrible they are. Like Jim's learning all these piano parts, and he's like, it's the same piano part for every song. But
I love it.
Word for word quote from Jim. It's the same part.
We just got to split some of those up. Can't play them right next to each other, and then we're good.
But it's super rewarding to kind of hear all of these sonics in your head, and then at the end of it all, have that exactly how you wanted it to. And I felt like it was the first release that I had that kind of got me back on track with where I wanted to be, what I wanted to sound like. And help point me in the right direction for what kind of artist I was going to be moving forward. So.
Go on and take your time, like you haven't already. Go on and change your mind twice more.
Where'd you get your inspiration for that record?
For Waking Up, the inspiration was, and it's kind of dark, but it was, it was coming to grips with, one, getting older, two, still wanting to be a musician, and still pursuing that dream, and then I guess those are the only two things. But it was literally
Very dark.
Yeah. Well, it was. What's tough is I had some friends that were also musicians at the time who had, were in constant contact with each other, as friends are. And they had kind of told me, some of them had gone off to be like real estate agents, and some of them had gone off and gotten desk jobs, and they were like, yeah, it was really hard for me to kind of accept that like music wasn't my thing, but I got over it, and I'm working my job now, and I'm making this happen for like my family, which is admirable. Obviously, like, you got to protect and look after your family before anything else. You got to take care of you. But I was coming face to face, I think, with that reality more often than I had in the past, because when you're younger, I feel like you have license to pursue dreams, and the older you get, the more society kind of tells you and that, it's no longer acceptable for you to pursue those dreams anymore, or it's no longer responsible for you to pursue those things. So that was the main inspiration for making that music, was, one, to create a piece of art that I was proud of, that if it was going to be my last piece of art, it would be something that I could look back and be proud that I had accomplished, and be willing to like share with other people, but also kind of coming face to face with, am I too old? Am I getting too old? Is there ever too old to do something that you love to do? And, luckily it turned out that I guess I'm not too old, and I guess that art is art, and no matter who's making it, and no matter when you're making it, as long as you're investing yourself and putting like everything that you have into making the best art that you possibly can, and being as honest with yourself as you possibly can, that's a great place to be. So
yeah, awesome. So who all helped kind of make the album and the record?
Well, me. Literally, yeah. Sorry, I answered that earlier, but no. Don't even ask me that question. So it was, that record was exclusively me, because it was something that I needed to get out, I felt like, at that point in time. So everything was me, and then Ethan Luck on the drums for that. And then my new record, I kind of did the exact opposite and said, I want everybody that I possibly can involved in this record, because my mentality as a solo artist is that there's no true solo artist. Nobody makes it on their own, because even if you stand on stage with an acoustic guitar and there's nothing else, you still have everyone who's coming to see you. And they, in turn, are part of your music, and part of why you create art, and part of why you're successful, and they are the thing that lifts you up to be able to pursue. So the belief that there is a true solo artist is something that has like dissipated.
Okay, so since being on the show last spring, what have you worked on for the year?
So we did go on a tour over the summer. Down in Florida, we went to NAMM in Nashville, and then just kind of played some shows regionally for a little while. And then I went to work with Ryan Dawson from a band called All Time Low. Me and him got together and started working on this new record. Well, it more started with me being like, I have all these songs now from like being on the road and not having written a record since 2017, 16, whenever it was that it came out, and kind of building up all these ideas. And I had like probably 25 or so songs, and basically getting down to it and kind of like trimming the fat, I suppose, and making sure that I had like the best songs to exemplify like what type of artist I am now and what type of music that like the band is going to release going forward and what that identity looks like and what that visually feels like. And when you visit my Instagram, what does that feel like? And when you visit my Facebook page, what does that feel like? And when you go to my show, what does that feel like? And so what I wanted to do was just like make a very cohesive piece of art and center it all around making some really great songs. And so I spent a better part of last year finishing that record. And I just got the masters back like on Tuesday. So distributed them to the band and they were like, this is okay, I guess. And I was like, sweet. But
we leaked them all already. They're probably out there somewhere.
Yeah. But yeah, just got the masters back. And honestly, working with other artists on this one, working with Jim on keys, working with Albert on bass, working with some other friends from Omaha on keys and on other guitar parts, and even some friends on like guest vocals and stuff like that. Working with other artists, really, I felt like when I surrendered control of like the production is when things really started to like bloom and blossom into something that was better than before. Because I know what kind of record I can make now. Like with Waking Up, I knew that was the record that I could make. But with the new record, it was like, oh, now I know what record my community can make, which is a cool experience.
So speaking of tour, what are some cool experiences you guys had?
God, do I love Florida.
Yeah. There are a lot of tour stories, I suppose. I don't know how many of them we're allowed to share.
I was gonna say the cable thing. The cable thing is coming up. I can't think of like. I think just some of the fun, like the most fun parts was when we were like just riding hours and hours in the van, just like some of the banter, some of the just like revisiting experiences that we had while we were out and about. All the bars that we played at were really cool. We played at this place called Cage Brewery, and
Best mango IPA you have ever had. Straight up.
The mango IPA is incredible. That's exactly what I was going for. That's like my main memory from that tour. Like nothing better.
I remember a little bit of that show.
I think that's totally right. Like the best part of a tour is like you get to know your band like that much better, right? Because you know your friends from like 9 to 5, or you know your friends from like for 4 hours at a time or for overnight or something like that. But like when you're traveling 2,500 miles with the same two dudes in a van, it's like you really get to know those guys, and you really get to know just like you really just like develop that friendship and that bond. So Jim will be on the next one.
Can't wait for 2,500 miles. I didn't know it was that much. I'm having second thoughts.
Yeah, tip of Florida and back.
All right, Florida.
Thank you for watching Northwest Sessions here on KNWT Channel 8. That's all the time we have for you tonight. But thank you, Isaiah Dominguez and Los Olas, for rocking it out with us. We're going to kick it off with one last song.
Got some time to clear my mind over a 14 and a half hour drive.